In this video, we're going to work on drawing a nose from the side. The first thing you want to do is to capture the angle of the bridge of the nose. To do this, I'm going to use my pencil, just line it up with the bridge, bring it over to my paper, visualize that angle, and then quickly move my pencil away and draw it. Then I'm going to take that line and just compare to make sure I got it right. If it's wrong, if I made it too tippy, I can adjust it before I move on. Okay, next up, we're going to look at the angle at the bottom of the nose. So I'll do pretty much the same thing, just like that. Visualize it and place it. Okay, so this is really boxy, but I do have the right angles. So the next thing I'm going to do is to put in the actual contours. So you want to remember what we've learned about contour drawing. Always look back, study closely the angles that you see and the subtle variations. There we go, coming down. This is going to drop below the line and then back up and around and curving off the paper. Okay, so once you have the outline figured out, the next thing that you want to do is to place the top of the nostril. Now here it's pretty dark at the bottom, but we don't want to draw a line here, just along the top. So you just have to kind of figure out where is that happening, where does it end. And you might want to check the angle. So I'm going to check the angle there. It looks pretty good. And I'll place that in. The most common mistake that I see when students are drawing a nose from the side is they put this back edge too far forward. It's really common for me to see a student draw this shape here just above where it dips back in, so like right here. But notice how it sticks further back compared to this front edge. So if you were to take a line and go straight up from here, you would notice that the back edge of the nostril goes way behind that. Now this is not a really strong line, so I'm just going to barely sketch it in. Some other things I don't want to draw. I don't want to draw around the top edge. I just want to show that with some shading. Okay, I think we're ready to start shading. The first thing I'm going to do is to shade this whole general area, just kind of a base medium value. So this is just coming across the whole thing all the way over to the nostril. I'm moving pretty quickly. You're welcome to do your shading more slowly and evenly. I just don't want you to get bored watching this video. And we'll take it right down. There's like a shadow dropping down underneath the nose from the light source above. Okay, next up we're going to draw this part. Here it's quite dark. You're going to start by pushing really hard along that top edge, but as you move down, you want to fade lighter. There's not a really heavy dark shape that just suddenly ends. You just want to gradually fade lighter as you go down out of the nostril. Let's move on to the upper part. I'm noticing a strong highlight here. There's a little bit of a shadow core happening here, and I'd like to capture both of those things. So I'm going to do some really light shading right around that, right through there. I'm going to see if I can capture that little bit of a wedge of a shadow happening right above the highlight and around the back edge. There's a little bit of shading there. I'm going to push that shadow core in just a bit darker. I also see a shadow core happening right through there, so I'm going to put that in as well. Okay, there's a shadow around the back edge, so I'm going to continue my, first of all, my base shading, kind of out through here. It's not all super light right there. And then I'm going to come in and just push it just a bit darker around that outside edge. Continuing up the nose, I have some light here. It gets darker and then light again. So I'm just going to try and leave that pool of light alone and then just kind of lightly shade around it. Take my light shading all the way across here. Let it fade out. The thing about noses is shading is the most important thing. You really want to study what's happening with the lights and the shadows, and that can really help you get the shape and the feel of the nose right. Much more important than having a bunch of contour lines. Okay, adjustments I need to make a little bit darker through here, much darker up at the top, maybe a little bit lighter right through this section. So I'm just going to erase it out. Okay, there you go, a nose.